A man who always ends up badly and out of whack. He is not smart. Will go down as the worst FBI director in history by far. It comes as Comey gets ready to release a new tell-all book this week, which will be dropped on Tuesday. Joining me right now is Michael Mukasey. He is a former attorney general under the George W. Bush administration, a former federal judge and partner at Bartiromo. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
So this is all quite extraordinary, isn't it, Judge? I mean, give me your take. Here we have Jim Comey out with this book talking about his time at the FBI at the same time that congressional leadership is asking for documents that they haven't received yet pertaining to the FBI's handling of the Clinton investigation as well as the Trump administration. Your reaction?
Well, there are a couple of issues raised by that. Number one, there are guidelines, publication guidelines for people who work at the FBI. And the first publication guideline is that you're not supposed to write about the substantive issues in pending open investigations. That seems to have been violated with Mr. Comey's book. But beyond that, I think that it bears a good long look into how he came to drop the charges with respect to Hillary Clinton. As your last guest pointed out, he was acting in several capacities, most of them unauthorized in doing that. But there are a couple of clues in plain view that really need to be followed. Number one, President Obama communicated with Hillary Clinton on her server. We know that because he had a code name. And his emails were discovered and would have been discovered had the investigation of her continued. When the president went on television and said that she hadn't done anything wrong, did Jim Comey take that as an indication that he should find that there was an added element in the statute and therefore that he shouldn't bring a prosecution? I think that bears following up.
Well, they also, we should point out, changed the language of what, in fact, Hillary Clinton had done. Changing the language really changed the specific situation in terms of her handling of her emails. Isn't that right?
Correct. And they also, he also misstated whether people had ever been prosecuted for doing what she did. He claimed that he hadn't found any cases at the Justice Department. Whether he found any cases or not, the fact is that there were many people in the military who were prosecuted under the identical statute, who not only suffered sanctions, but were actually imprisoned for doing actually a lot less than she did.
So there will be more to come from the Inspector General with regard to the Hillary Clinton email investigation, and that will be coming out within the month. What struck you about what we've learned so far from the Inspector General about Andrew McCabe in this most recent drop on Friday night?
Well, I thought the statement that he had been less than candid, i.e. lied, no fewer than 4 times, a couple of them under oath, was really pretty striking, particularly for someone who has pretended to be a pillar of virtue and who has attracted charitable contributions or contributions to a defense fund.
I mean, this is all pretty extraordinary. As a former Attorney General yourself, when you see these contradictions between former Attorney General Loretta Lynch and Jim Comey and Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, and these texts, what do you say is going on or has taken place?
There's a lot that I don't know, but there's also a lot that the rest of us don't know. And what I think is appropriate is the investigation by Mr. Huber in Utah and a full investigation by Congress, which ought to do its job and really tease out all of the details.
All right, we will leave it there. Michael Mukasey, always a pleasure to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Good to be with you.
We'll take a break. When we come back, the U.S. and its allies sending a clear message to the Syrian regime. Congressman Ed Royce is the powerful chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He joins me next to talk about the force that was taken between the U.S., France, and the U.K. More as we look ahead on Sunday Morning Futures right here.